The national anthem welcomed visitors to the kickoff ceremony for the Plymouth 400 Maritime Salute. The program included speeches from military officials.
When you start talking about what the ocean is to this area and the history it made, we can go back in the Coast Guard where we started in 1790. So I know we don't have many Navy people here, but we're the longest continuous sea service. Navy had a little break in service, so we always like to take advantage of that. But when you look at it, we started up here in Boston with the first lighthouse in 1716. And then in 1776, Boston was the busiest port on the East Coast in the colonies. And then we built the first Coast Guard cutter in 1791 up in Newburyport. So when we start to talk maritime tradition and the importance of the ocean and what it brings to this area, we really can bring that right to this area itself.
On May 26th of 1824, Congress appropriated $20,000 for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers in New England, and I quote, to repair Plymouth Beach in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and thereby prevent the harbor at that place from being destroyed. We built the harbor.
Elected leaders.
As part of this cosmic connection of the past and the future, I am honored to speak to commemorate the 400th anniversary of this historic occasion.
Well, it was beautiful. It's just an incredible birthday party for Plymouth, for the United States of America, and I just love being here with all of the leaders who made it possible for us to celebrate the 400th.
And of course, this was an event delayed by about a year.
It was unfortunately delayed by the pandemic, but they couldn't stop the spirit of Plymouth, the absolute goal that they had to celebrate, as they should, the history of what happened here, including the whole legacy of the Wampanoag and the role they played as well. And that should never be forgotten.
I look back over half a century to a time when I was in the third grade. In the third grade at the time, we had a play on the things we're celebrating here today, with the voyage of the Mayflower and the impact on our country. And the narration of that script, I was William Brewster, who was also called, I think we have a descendant right here, all right.
I'm happy for the 400 committee, after all the planning and the interruptions of COVID, to come together, have a successful day today, and have the weather cooperate is important. So I'm happy for everyone that worked so hard. And then the meaning of today is important too, and it's relevant. I mean, we're looking at the Mayflower, the arrival of the Mayflower, the anniversary of that, what it means to our country. That was the first voyage. The second voyage we're involved in right now, and that's a voyage where we took some of the hard lessons of history that were there and how we can move forward, how the Mayflower Compact was so important in establishing our rule of law, how we've learned, that with our Native Americans, that, again, the hard lessons that we diminished their culture and their language and took their land, and recognizing that and moving forward so that can be continued for them, helping that occur, as well as realizing that on the second voyage we have towards the lessons that were brought forth as a result of the history here. We all have a place in continuing that voyage, and the precious cargo is our values as a country, and we must all take the advice of being pilgrims to advance that, and for the people after us to do the same.
Representatives from the United Kingdom.
What an enormous thing it is to leave your homeland. Britain and Holland were not very hospitable to this group of settlers in the 1600s. So they came across the Atlantic and landed here and found hospitality. And I am always struck when I come to this part of Massachusetts by the enormous promise of America that is just in the air. This is the fourth time I have been lucky enough to serve in America. We have a shared future, and the promise of what America would be, and the promise of this land, despite all the difficulties, must have brought itself home to those settlers when they saw it. It's a deep, profound, successful alliance. I know there are a couple of local difficulties, 1776, 1812, but since then it has been an alliance that is only growing stronger, and the latest manifestation is our cooperation on Afghanistan. But I would like to draw attention to this new Atlantic Charter that President Biden and Prime Minister Johnson endorsed in June at the G7. It really is an attempt to explain why open societies bring benefit to their countries and the citizens who live in them, and why we should try where we can to push back on authoritarianism.
And those reflecting on the complicated history with native populations.
When you, in 1614, when the fishing boat washed ashore here and killed about 90% of our people, it devastated, our people. And it really changed the way that we were able to function here in this area. And so when the Mayflower came to the shores with women and children, we knew you came to stay. Our Massasoit was so distraught from the loss of his people, challenges to his domain and accounts from Europe described by Squanto, who had been kidnapped and returned. Usamequin summoned this Plymouth colony to enter into a treaty of mutual protection. We certainly question whether he knew all of the terms of this agreement, but it afforded 50 years of peace between our cultures and the immigration of over 30,000 colonists to these shores. I find it difficult to differentiate between the agendas of the maritime and the colonization. They appear to be one of the same, but theories such as manifest destiny, body politic, indebtedness, materialism, personal property rights, the jury of your peers, and concepts that contradict our view of the world. Acculturation tools such as propagation of the gospel, praying towns, overseers, indentured servitude, overt racism and oppression are criminal crimes against humanity. It's been a difficult 400 years, our inability to stop you from clear-cutting our forests and exploiting our people, and destroying our habitat for your personal gain has rendered us displaced and kind of destitute on our own land.
There were also booths displaying everything from art.
I paint pictures of Wampanoags. I get inspired by creation stories, stories of resilience, and I like to do wolves because I'm the Wolf Clan. And I thought it would be appropriate because I am a descendant of Massasoit, and it was my ancestor that met the Pilgrims, and my tribe isn't federally recognized at all. We'd like to have some acknowledgement. We're the Seekonk Pokanoket Wampanoags.
To military history.
We're demonstrating our weapons, our clothing, and our cultural items from the 17th century, the early 17th century. Our mission is to bring 17th century back to life for the people of Plymouth. So when you see pilgrims marching in the parade, that's us. When you see us at a demonstration, we're demonstrating what people did during the 17th century, how they lived, and also the weapons that they used.
While the event was delayed by the pandemic, local leaders say it's still a boost to the region.
Yeah, it's been delayed for over a year now, but what it's done, though, it's brought so many people to Plymouth from all over the country. We have seen record numbers of people here in Plymouth, and I'm convinced it's because of all the marketing that's been done with the Plymouth 400 over the last 10 years. And people missed out on a lot of things they wanted to do last year, and now they're starting to come. And we'll see that, I think, for the next several years continue to grow.
So things are starting to wind down here for the opening ceremony. There will be a whole bunch of activities taking place over the weekend. To learn more about Plymouth 400, go to plymouth400inc.org. Reporting from Plymouth, Dan McCready, WATD News.